Good morning and welcome to Behind the Screen. I am JM, your host, and this is a show where we sit around and talk about things that are beautiful in gaming, things that are inspiring, things that make us want to be better game masters, players, gamers, writers, the whole nine yards. And I've seen a lot of videos going around top 5 reasons to play this game or top 5 reasons to play that game. You know what? I wasn't going to get involved, but then I saw somebody do top 10 games that you need to give up to play Dungeons and Dragons this year. And I was like, well, that's silly. All right, I'll do my top 10 reasons to play Savage Worlds because I love Savage Worlds. It's probably the game that sees the most time at my table. As you can tell behind me, I have a lot of different styles of games, a lot of different genres of games that I like to play, but, time and time again, I come back to Savage Worlds. And so I feel a little reactionary in doing this video, but you know what? Here we are. So today I'm going to talk about the top 5 reasons to be playing Savage Worlds in 2024 if you are a game master. But first, let me say hello to John Doom and to Mark and to Padre. Good to see you all. So the first thing I think that Savage Worlds does well, is its tagline, fast, fun, furious. I think it's one of the most flexible gaming systems out there. You can, with ease, run anything from fantasy to science fiction to Western to horror to a myriad of different subgenres within there. Just the fact that for science fiction, which the Science Fiction Companion is launching soon, and we'll post a link as soon as it goes live. But you can have mech warrior combat, you can have Star Trek inspired, Star Wars, Dune, cyberpunk. That's just one genre, and that all fits under the umbrella of Savage Worlds, and it still plays the same. That flexibility is something that I don't think we can overlook. A lot of times we find a favorite system and we want to hammer any idea we have into that system's shape. And Savage Worlds is designed from the ground up to, like a noble gas, fill your setting idea with the rules that it needs. So as a GM, you have to learn the rules once, and then you just apply the setting rules that you need to, create the feel that you want for your game. And that can't be overstated, right? That just means now our prep isn't about learning rules anymore. It's just about focusing on the setting. Yes, John Doom, like a king's fart, a noble gas. Have a Benny. You can use that in our Friday night game. So, I can't overstate that flexibility, because a lot of times when we want to hammer a game into a different shape, it's a lot of work, and we don't really see the design choices that we're making. I tried to make 13th Age run for a superhero game, and that failed horribly. I could have made it work, but I finally just decided to run a superhero game. Why force something to work when I can find something that runs smoother? And some of you would be saying, well, Savage Worlds is really pulp. It's really fits into one genre or style of play. I would argue that I would have agreed with you right up until I read Dead Rain. And Dead Rain showed me that Savage Worlds, with a few tweaks to the setting rules, runs amazingly as a survival horror game. I actually am fiddling around with putting some of those rules into a fantasy survival horror, like dungeon crawling style game, which I think would work out really, really well. So the second thing I'm going to put, and these are in no particular order, is GM tools. Savage Worlds allows you to zoom in or zoom out on the action to the degree that you want it to be. It has regular combat that we're all used to. Hey, is it theater of the mind? Is it minis and tactical combat? But combat kind of works the same way either way. Same with Savage Worlds. They do a great job of giving the GM a couple of useful tools for running a theater of the mind. The main one that I think of is the fact that, hey, templates are usually tough to adjudicate in theater of the mind. Well, Savage Worlds just says, hey, this is how many people you hit with each blast template or your cone template. There you go. So the GM, yeah, maybe if you were playing with a tactical map, you might be able to get a couple of more people, but that's not why we do that. But it also allows you to zoom out and do a quick encounter, a dangerous quick encounter where you can resolve an entire combat with one roll, or use their mass combat system to generate fun and interesting results all the way up to the scale of armies fighting. In addition, you have things like dramatic tasks and chases, which help break up what are clearly scenes from books and shows and ideas that we have in our head that are sometimes difficult to represent at the table into digestible chunks, which allows us to have dramatic interactions with both of those things. And that leads into the GM tools, kind of leads into my next point, which is the swag guild. If there is a rule or a setting that you want to try and find, like survival horror rules for what is inherently a pulp style game, the Savage Worlds Adventuring Guild is the greatest treasure trove of resources and information that you as a GM could ever want. There's settings, there's rules, and system rules. That one of the things that won a swag award was settingless, which is just a bunch of setting rules so that you can mix and match and put together things that fit for your own setting. Having a resource like that is also sort of tends to be priced very reasonably, anything from pay what you want to only a couple of bucks to pick up the PDFs that you would like to see used at your table, is, I mean, the amount of time that you would save is well worth the couple of bucks you're going to toss to a creator who deserves it. And kind of linked onto that is the incredible Savage Worlds community. Check out the unofficial Savage Worlds Discord and Gaming with Gage Discords. Both of them are obviously Savage Worlds focused, and they are so welcoming and friendly and very GM friendly. Hey, how does this work? Hey, does anyone know if there's a rule or an edge or a piece of gear like this? And you're drawing on a wealth of friendly people who want to see more people get Savage Worlds to the table. Good morning, Tink. I think we're all looking forward to the Sci-Fi Companion. I have some news to announce with the Sci-Fi Companion, but I'm not going to mention that yet. I also have another big announcement here at the end of the channel for the Iconic Patronage, which, now that I think about it, I'm going to wait on making that announcement until I make it to the Iconic Patronage later this week. So by Thursday, I'll have a big announcement. The next thing is the ease of hacking. I'm a big fan of reskinning monsters, of creating new rules on the fly, house ruling my game, creating a bunch of fun and exciting monsters and features for my game. And I've designed a lot, both professionally and privately, of game material. And I have to say, aside from Jackals, but that's because the whole system was basically designed to be perfect for someone with JM's brain, Savage Worlds is one of the easiest game systems to design for. Their use of building blocks for both NPCs and monsters, their use of special abilities, the plethora of official and unofficial supplements to steal things from, rip apart, and stitch together as your own creature is amazing. The fact that creating new edges and new setting rules are, again, the ease of looking at other ones and balancing with that, finding niches that your setting needs but may not be broadly necessary. Even the fact that even if you do break something, it's pretty easy to fix. Also, when creating monsters, even just being able to look at a regular monster and say, I like this monster, but I want it to be tougher. Why don't I just make it a wild card and give it a cool name? Changes the difficulty with one little addition. Also, no, that's on the player side. But having GM bennies helped me as a player. This is an extra sixth one. Helps me as a GM not feel so bad when I fall in love with an NPC and John Doom rolls a 54 on damage. I have a chance of saving my NPC at least a couple of times so that he gets to show off the cool thing I designed. And last but not least is the settings. I like homebrewing. I homebrew a lot of my settings. Crucible of Realms is a homebrew. Tanar, Jackals started off as a homebrew. Vendom is a homebrew. But I also love the creativity and depth that Savage Worlds and Pinnacle puts into their settings. Every one of them, you could pick up the book and run a great campaign for years with. Not to mention all of the plot point campaigns and the savage tales that they push and shove into every nook and cranny of their books. Do you like fantasy? Well, we've got the Fantasy Companion if you want to homebrew, but they also have Savage Pathfinder with 2 full adventure paths ready to go if that's your jam. Do you like westerns? Well, obviously there's Deadlands, but also do you like science fiction Firefly kind of things? Well, we've got Deadlands Lost Colony. Are you a fan of modern supernatural horror? Well, Pine Box Middle School and E2U are right there to be picked up. Do you like wuxia and high-flying martial arts? Legend of Ghost Mountain is coming out soon. And even just looking over at my shelf, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we have Holler and Savage Rifts, both of which I have done extensive review videos on. Grom, good to see you. Glad to hear. Thankfully, you're here a little early. I'm glad to see you in the chat. Sadly, that wraps up my my top 5 reasons as a player or as a GM that I think you should jump in and play Savage Worlds this year. I'm going to put the link to the PDF in the show notes because at the price of entry, I don't think you're going to find a better RPG on the market for the price of entry. Especially one that's so flexible. Like you may, like if I want to play something that emulates Conan or Clark Ashton Smith and has that first edition D&D feel, well, yeah, I'm going to play Hyperborea. If the Jackals itch hits me, I'm going to probably run Jackals. But for a go-to system that I can just pick up, run a one-shot, or run a full-length campaign, and really tailor the rule set to really fit my setting, as opposed to tailor the setting to really fit my rule set, nothing beats Savage Worlds. Yes, Spam Viking, throw them all together and play a Quantum Leap Slider-style campaign. I don't know if you guys remember when 4th edition GURPS first came out, they had I can see it in my head. They had a setting book that they released basically with the core 2 books, which was all about how to play in all of the worlds. You like jump between like quantum deviations and could jump around. And I loved that. That was I thought that was really cool. So you could have your fantasy character with your superhero. But even then, the points balancing sometimes doesn't work out well. Spam Vikings, the Quantum Leap Sliders campaign sounds fantastic. And yeah, John, we could tie that in with rifts. A rift that leads to Deadlands. Or then over to Savage Pathfinder, Golarion. So that's really all I had to talk about for my top 5 reasons. On Thursday, I'm going to give you your top 5 reasons to check out Savage Worlds if you're a player. I know we said we were going to do Terror on the Dark Frontier next. And I'm still not yet compiling all of my notes for the campaign. So I figured I'd sneak these 2 in, and next Tuesday we jump into wrapping up Terror on the Dark Frontier. Then we're going to be looking at that sort of, next Thursday we're going to be looking at something I'm titling Beauty and the Anti-Fan, which we're gonna talk about next Thursday. And then I'm going to do a series of videos on how to play the Clash system, which I am really, really excited about. Grom says, Deadlands, now I know where that Night Road will go in my Godbound campaign. That Automonkey writes the PCs. 100%. And Grom, I would love to hear about your Godbound campaign. That's one that I haven't played yet, but most of Kevin Crawford's books that I've read have they've never failed to inspire me and make me want to give them a shot. So that's it. If you are watching this on YouTube or here on Twitch, feel free to give us a follow, give us a like, leave a comment. I try to get back to all of them. Let the algorithm know, hey, this is cool stuff that people might want to check out. If you want to support the show, check us out over at patreon.com/iconic production. Big announcement going up tomorrow. We're going to be making some changes to the reward structure next week, but I wanted to give the patrons kind of a heads up on what is going on behind the screen, as it were, at Iconic Production. So, to Grom, Padre, John, Tink, and Mark, thanks for everyone showing up. I will see you all on Thursday. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I'm JM, and this has been Behind the Screen. Have a good one.